episode of Doomsday, Doopy Doo. I am Nick. I'm here with Chris. Hello, Chris.
Hi, Nick.
We are just finished our role-playing game. I think you're going to get 2 in a row. You got 2 in a row. I don't know why I'm telling you. You already got it. So this is history, old news. But anyway, this is the regular show. Yeah. And I think that one of the things that we'll talk about, maybe for the last time, or I don't know, not for the last time ever, but for now or for a while.
Formally discuss.
Yes, is a little bit more Star Wars, not the coverage of the, we pretty much, like I had said last show, I think I said everything I wanted to say about Star Wars. Mm-hmm. But I think we have to say something about Rise of Skywalker.
Well, and did you ever finish Mandalorian? Did you ever get there?
No, I've just been super busy this past few weeks, so I didn't get a lot of Mandalorian. I did see Rise, and then what else did I see? I think that's it. I'm still trying to see The Irishman too.
It's so good.
Yeah. So, but and yeah, maybe just some listening to books and driving to work. That's it.
That really is pretty much your life. Is you spend a ton of time going to work. Yeah,
and so I blaze through a lot of books, but not. I'm actually gonna try Crime and Punishment via Audible.
Oh, okay.
It should be interesting. I'm gonna get the print version to study it a little bit. Obviously, I don't think I could just listen to it, but I'm gonna try it. See.
That's Dostoevsky, right?
Yeah.
I think I might have that. I have a Barnes and Noble edition of a few Dostoevskys in a collection.
Yeah, the brothers Karamazov.
There's 3, I think. Karamazov and Crime and Punishment and something else.
The Idiot?
Maybe. The problem is it's like a really nice leather-bound one, so
those are cool.
Lend it. I didn't even read. When I read it, I didn't even read that version. I just had to probably borrow a crappy paperback or something.
I like those reissues of those classics that they put in those hardcovers.
I'm kind of addicted to them.
Yeah, they're kind of cool.
My favorite is I have a Charles Dickens one that's really cool looking, and then my really favorite is my Ernest Hemingway collection is like my favorite book.
Oh, that's in one book?
It's like Old Man and the Sea, Farewell to Arms. It's all the big ones. There's another one.
I haven't read any Hemingway yet. None.
It's an easy read. It's more. It's not like reading, Vonnegut or something where you're really pondering what the fuck is going on at times. It's more about a feeling and a kind of a. It's like an attitude
wrote
to it.
Very nice, very pretty writing, so to speak. It's very descriptive and
very descriptive. His characters are fleshed out. It's I love Hemingway. I'm a big prose. Yeah.
So
it's
I definitely want to read some of him.
But so we're kind of talking about that, and you mentioned The Irishman. Did you hear? And it kind of at first it pissed me off. I actually heard Scorsese say it before I watched The Irishman, so I was kind of like, "Fuck The Irishman." But he was like,
"Oh yeah,
Marvel is not."
Me any reason not to watch something? Go ahead, hit me with it.
So he was like, he was talking about how the Marvel movies are not cinema.
Oh well,
did you hear that whole thing? He was like, Marvel movies are not cinema. Yeah. What's your feeling on that? I'm asking you this very pointedly because I almost know what you're going to. Well,
what does he mean by that?
I mean, he's saying they're not. He's saying cinema. I guess his take is cinema is film as art, and he views it as his art and craft. And he says Marvel is like this Disney cookie cutter formulaic thing, which I think is unfair and kind of dismisses the. Well, yeah, I mean, artistic endeavors of other people, kind of. It's almost like a hipster thing. Like that bugs the shit out of me. Like it bugged me. So I'm like, it's different.
Yeah.
It's just because it's not because all art is subjective. So how can you just because it's not art to you doesn't mean it's not art to me.
Yeah, there's that like gatekeeping aspect of it. Like you're not a Star Wars fan or you're not an artist unless this or that. I mean, but there's got to be some line, right, that you draw.
Yeah.
But. Yeah, but I don't understand what he means by the word cinema.
Yeah,
and I mean, clear if it's by definition, then Yeah, of course it's cinema, right? I mean,
It's
cinema.
film.
It's film.
Crafted. It was
It's a motion.
creative, right?
It's a motion picture. If that's the definition of cinema.
Yeah, it's visually crafted.
But does he mean something else by the word cinema? Yeah, it's probably. I think you're right. It's more like he's looking at it like it's art.
Yeah, he's kind of turning his nose up to it, like it's turning his nose,
and that happens too. But also, not to interrupt you, is like people say that with Stephen King. You know, it's like he's. You know, it's like it's. I don't know how to explain it, but it's like he never wins like any of those awards because they're like it's just genre fiction. It's not literature. It's not this. It's not that. It's not that. In the meantime, he's laughing all the way to the bank. And how many movies and how many books and how many bestsellers do you need before you tell someone, all right, well maybe there's a little something to.
But dude, he's prolific. He's written so anybody who could write that much.
But is anyone? But I mean, like he's not mentioned or studied in English comp or lit or anything. He's not. He's James Patterson. He's relegated to that bin, even though he's as prolific as he is.
I think,
which he always took exception to. He always takes, rather. I'm talking about him in the past tense, but he takes exception to it. Which is very similar to what you're saying about Scorsese saying about other people. It's like kind of not doesn't make sense almost. Like if it's so popular and successful.
Well, I mean, Scorsese's movies are formulaic. I mean, he's not. Look, The Irishman is great and is classic Scorsese, and I viewed it as like his swan song because the whole movie is kind of like there's these characters in the movie that are like characters from other movies, and then you have like characters he put in other movies like Pacino and De Niro and these guys that are kind of his muses. But he's not doing anything that's any different that he didn't do 20 years, 30 years ago. He's doing the same thing. Right. Oh, hey, there's a big soundtrack. There's a big soundtrack in the movie. You believe that music is a big part of the movie? Like, okay.
Spitting. Yeah. Well, like Tarantino, the same thing. But
yeah. So
when you're looking at one of my problems with, it's not a problem. It's just that when I watch De Niro in a Scorsese film, I always feel like he's very almost the same person. Like whether it's Goodfellas or if it's I don't know. This movie he's an Irishman, and in Goodfellas he was an Irishman, right? In Irish Mobsters. So he played, and then I think there was another movie, but I don't know. They were very similar. Even in Taxi Driver and in Mean Streets, all De Niro and Scorsese, he was a very similar character. I mean, Mean Streets. When you see him in Mean Streets, and then you look at his later movies, they're just all evolutions of that same character. That doesn't diminish it, but for him to call something formulaic is a little ironic.
It is. Like I said, I think the hard part is the minute you open your mouth, you need to turn that mirror around and look at yourself and say, what am I doing? Is he a great storyteller? Yeah, absolutely. Scorsese is an amazing storyteller. He crafts a great story, and the visuals of the movie are unbelievable too. They're classic him. But I don't think you shit on somebody else. Like, and I think he was upset maybe too because Irishman came out on a Netflix or Amazon Prime, and not at the movie theater. Was it at the movie theater? I guess
who gives a shit about that?
But it was maybe he did though because he's saying here you got Marvel on 8 million screens. It makes all this money. I make
you
this.
Think that's what it was?
Maybe I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, I guess
maybe it's a little bit of sour grapes. But here's me. I go.
But I mean, that's the future. I mean, that's more cutting edge than what Marvel's doing. Marvel's kind of in an ancient realm in that sense.
Not really, no, because now they want to use Disney Plus to get out a show instead of doing a movie.
Right, that's why Disney's doing that. Is they're making sure they don't miss out on that opportunity. But I mean, isn't everything kind of like anything that's good, like kind of formulaic? Like even like for a while, like you look at every iteration or like master in their field where in the arts, and they're always like you could always take that where that person is and go back like a generation or back generationally to
generationally
to the next to the previous artist, let's say in that field, and it's always whatever formula that guy was doing plus something different. It's always like you do literally always. I'm gonna get a little closer, Mike. Sorry. You do always notice that they kind of stand. Everyone's just standing on each other's shoulders. It's just someone's standing and then someone climbs up and then stands on your shoulders and it just keeps going. No. And there's something formulaic about that.
Of course. Well, look at the great philosophers when you talk about like Socrates and Aristotle. They all built upon what the guy before him did. So why reinvent the wheel? He comes up with these idioms or axioms or whatever the fuck they call them, and you just go, I'm going to expound on that, right? Or an artist who has a particular style, like Pollock was into that stuff, and he refined it. So he did a bunch of paintings that were good, and his style evolved even across his own evolution, as opposed to or Van Gogh, right? They always say Van Gogh is great with the shadow, right? Was that what it was? Shadows from Van Gogh or whatever.
And the Impressionism. I mean, like Impressionism to like modernism to postmodernism, fiction to metafiction to everything. Just kind of is always just going up like one level. If in music, you hear it all the time, and it's like you could hear like Led Zeppelin like. If you really concentrate on it, everywhere almost. Well, in rock music, let's say, and as you see each musician that then takes that next step, and not all of them do. I mean, most of the time, it's everyone's just gets to that whatever's popular at the moment, whatever's part of the zeitgeist, and they follow that formula, right? That formulaic pattern that has a proven track record and for a reason, because it resonates with people, it evokes something in people, and they perpetuate it, and then eventually someone says, yeah, but what if we also added this, or what if you took this and combined it with
or
this,
flipped this around,
and then it's still formulaic. It's just the formula now changed.
Yeah, they changed a couple of ingredients in the formula. Well, but let's go back to your monomyth, right? I mean, this is the idea.
There you go.
Every story has been told already.
Yeah, including all Scorsese's.
Yeah, you're right. No, everything. I mean, I used to play a game with my friends of so many movies that Hollywood was making were based off of Shakespeare. The plays of Shakespeare, and how many of those have? Oh, this is that's
the story of Hamlet's been told 1,000 times.
Exactly. So it's Romeo and Juliet. Come on, dude. How many times has that been done? Over and over and over again. So you're right. Every story has been told a million times. Yeah. You just have to have something that makes it different.
I'm surprised you said that.
Well, I got the 5-minute version of it, so who knows what the whole article said, but that was
I got zero of it. I didn't even, this is the first time hearing it.
And I'm such a piece of shit. I'm like, fuck Martin Scorsese, and then it was like
Thanksgiving. Yeah, but then you watched The Watchmen.
Then I watched it anyway. Because I can't even stick to my guns.
I still haven't watched The Watchmen. I don't think I'm going to.
That's fine.
I'm sorry. I don't know if that makes me a bad podcast host.
It doesn't, but you're missing out.
I'm missing out probably.
Something that
I don't have
enjoy.
time. Yeah. I want to watch The Irishman. I want to watch Mandalorian. I can't watch Mandalorian, The Irishman, Scorsese.
Watch all three at the same time.
Quentin Tarantino's, what was Lisa saying? The Hollywood movie.
Oh, yeah. Once Upon a Time in Hollywood.
Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. I haven't seen it. Geez. So much I haven't seen. That The Watchmen is just lower. And I'm telling you, what it is? It's just that I had just finished reading Jerusalem. And I'm very busy being like up Alan Moore's ass at the moment. Because the book was great.
He's a crotchety old curmudgeon.
Yes. Well, yes, but the book was great.
He's a fucking genius. Don't get me wrong, but like I told you, we fought that whole thing on your deck the other night.
And the book, and the book itself too. Not only is the book really, really good, and it is metafictional. It's got some metafiction in it, and it's also got it's self-referential in. Not only the book itself referencing itself, but Alan Moore referencing himself in the book that's referencing itself. Like this, it just keeps going. These comic references all throughout, and you see different things. And then, he's contemplating. You hear him contemplating these things, and you hear with his, and it's also it culminates in his kind of definition or feeling as to what art is, and what its importance is, and why it exists, and why it should exist, and why it's important that it exists, and to read that and be like blown away by the whole book, and blown away by that premise, and blown away by what he's trying to say. And then to go watch Watchmen, it's kind of like, it's jarring. So I think that's the reason. I'm sure like maybe next year I'll watch it. It would be like akin to
like watching a Star Wars movie that was a culmination of a huge saga that didn't really belong to the creator.
So
anymore.
should we go into the Star Wars thing and should we go into the Star Wars thing and hang on a second, or should we go into me being drugged in the city and then go to the Star Wars thing?
I don't know. What would be a better ending?
I have a Star Wars essay, too, that I started.
You started a Star Wars essay?
Yes.
You were writing an essay on your own about Star Wars?
Yes.
Okay. So you're just going to read it?
I wanted to get some input from you.
Okay. You want to do that on the air, or you want to do that privately?
I think it's interesting.
Okay.
But go ahead.
What's a better end note? Your drugging story or Star Wars?
I'm wondering.
I mean, I don't know your drugging story. You didn't even. We hung out. We even hung out without recording anything one time with
and we didn't
even talk about.
We didn't even talk about it at all.
We talked about a bunch
of
other things.
Was that with James?
With James, yes. Okay. Yes.
I don't understand.
I wondered why you didn't respond for a long time.
I got a text message, folks, from a guy, and it was a different name.
He's actually a listener.
Guy has a different name.
Yeah. I was confused, too. I went through what you went through about a year ago, but now I know that that's James. Not to be called James, except for when he sends an email or a text from maybe like an iPad device. I think it comes from like his iPad or something when it says that.
Is it?
Because I get other texts from him too, but it confused the shit out of me too.
Yeah, I mean,
because the last name was the same. I go, but who is that? Yeah. It took me a minute.
All right.
That's why I said welcome to the party, because I went through the same thing.
Anyway, so but he that's the night you were talking about.
Yes. And then we had our first brainstorming session after that, which I thought was really fun.
Yeah, but it was too small and fast, and
no, but I think it was shaping something that's completely shapeless.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
Putting something.
Yeah, I was thinking about it the other day, and I'm still confused a little bit by it, but that I wasn't sure of what it was, because I'm not sure if I understood what you were saying, but I still don't know what type of movie it is, because that premise that you brought up could be a comedy, it could be a drama, it could be a thriller, it could be a mystery.
But see, I don't think.
I don't think in terms of genre.
So right now, nobody knows what we're talking about as far as.
Sorry.
We're going to write a screenplay together.
No, everyone knows. You told everyone.
Did we do that last time?
Yeah, you did.
Okay, sorry. We got to do this more often. Well, but anyway, so we did a brainstorming, but I don't think we should put a label on it. I think we should write it and see what it becomes. Don't you think? Do you think we need to say we're writing a mystery before we write it, or write it and see how it comes out? Because if you write something and say, I'm going to make a comedy, and then it's not fucking funny, what do you do?
Well, no. Well, then you change it. I want to say that I find it more productive if I start with a voice and direction in mind, and then start going in that direction, and then usually quickly, while following that direction, you either realize it's the right direction or if it's the wrong one. And what happens is, to me anyway, is I'll be going, all right, you write something in a certain tone and going a certain thing, and you realize in the story, this isn't the right tone for the story. And then you realize, oh, but you know what? Really, this is a murder mystery. And then your tone changes. But if you just start, I never had much luck. That's the trouble about, I've never co-wrote with anybody either. So this is part of the co-writing issue, right? Because everyone they say everyone is different, writing wise, right? So for me, I was never able to just say, okay, I'm going to just Like that's something that Stephen King says on writing. Like he has characters in his mind, right? And he just starts writing characters, and he just starts writing their day and what's going on, and he starts improvising.
Seem like that,
right? And if you think about it, his books very much seem like that. You just hear like you really know these people, and you see these long stretches where he's just describing a person, right? And then all of a sudden something weird happens to them. And that's kind of the way he writes. I'm going to write this person, and then I'm going to have something weird happen to them, right? I was never able to do that. I was never able to just take a person, start writing, and this, not knowing where I was going. I was always better knowing where I was going, and then I never ended up in where I thought I would be, but I always had to be going in some direction.
Yeah.
But again, not everyone's like that, but I don't know. You're more of the other kind. Just you're one of those. They call them by the pantsers. They call them where you're writing by the pants, by the seat of your pants.
I think, like I said, I feel like I write like I role play or DM. Like I have an idea what I want to do, and I think we have an idea where we want to go. Then we create the who.
Well, see, maybe I don't understand that. Maybe that's what I'm not sure.
Well, then we're gonna have our next session. But anyways,
yeah, we're gonna have another talk. So we should go Star Wars.
Yeah, let's do Star Wars, and then we'll finish with your story. I think it might be a better.
I'll just read the first paragraph of my essay.
Let me hear your essay. Yes.
I don't know where I'm
stand up.
I don't know where I'm going to publish this.
Yeah, what is the purpose?
I don't know. It looks like it's going to be several thousand words.
Oh, jeez.
Okay.
Tentative title instead of watching Watchmen and Mandalorian.
Tentative title Star Wars. What I think went down. It was a few weeks ago that I watched Star Wars: The Rise of Skywalker, and I'm thinking I need to see it again because I'm having this nagging feeling inside, like I missed some things. For one, I missed where there was a Skywalker. This is good the way I read. There was a Skywalker that rose, which is troubling as it is the subtitle of the movie and makes me feel more than a little dumb for missing such a detail. I feel like that should have hit me pretty hard.
Who was the Skywalker that rose?
What is the Rise of Skywalker? I missed
Rey Skywalker was the Skywalker.
Rey is not a Skywalker.
She took the name of Skywalker.
That's what it was?
At the end of the movie, yes.
Okay, so I need to see it again. It is really just my whole...
We should wait because I hear J.J. Abrams' actual version might actually see the light of day.
Because his version never...
You didn't read that whole thing with the editor?
No.
So... Here's funny because, it's funny because you and I completely flipped around again on this thing.
What?
With Rise of Skywalker, because you've been kind about it. And when I talked to you, I was kind of ripping it up, saying there are things I just didn't sit well with me and it seemed incomplete and it seemed rushed. And then all of a sudden this story comes out and I was like, fuck Disney. They fucked it up, And I always remember before years ago, I was like, I have faith in Disney. I have faith in J.J. Abrams. They'll do the right thing. They'll make a good product.
Right.
Apparently the story goes that J.J. Abrams has a version. His version of that movie is 3 hours and 15 minutes long.
Okay.
And Disney got it and they were like, there's no fucking way we can do this. So they hired another editor to come in.
Right.
And do a slice and dice job on his version.
Okay.
Which is why it makes sense now. It feels that way. Like somebody took it and went, they're not going to understand it. And there are scenes that they took out that are amazing scenes that they took out that they just said, oh, no one's going to even know who that is. Like there was a scene they said where Rey is fighting Palpatine and the how they say all the Jedi are alive in her. There's literally a ring of all these Jedi Force ghosts of various Jedi around her, surrounding her, protecting her from Palpatine. So like all the Sith are in Palpatine. This is like the ultimate struggle between the two. And it seems so much bigger because they include, they don't know who those characters are anyway. So we'll just cut that out.
You think so?
That's exactly what happened. And they fucked up in editing it and they were rushed too because like I said, Finn was like, I have to tell you something to Rey on 2 occasions.
See, this is what I mean.
And he never told her it. They never told her it.
No, but I thought it was that he knew about Rey.
No, it's what he wanted to tell her. This is something else at the edit, that he was force sensitive.
That he what?
That he's force sensitive.
What?
He's kind of a Jedi.
What?
That's how he was able to break his stormtrooper programming.
But why? But yeah, where'd you hear that though? I don't get
this editor lady who edited the movie came out with all this.
Well, that
stuff.
sounds stupid though.
Maybe it does, but it at least finishes it and saying, "Hey, I have to tell you something. Hey, I have to tell you something. How do you keep an idiot in suspense?" And then there's no fucking answer at all, dude. That's terrible. That's a huge plot hole.
I didn't even notice that. I really, but obviously, yeah, you can't leave something like that hanging. That's pretty lazy.
But it's over and over, dude. In it, it's over and over in the movie, dude. It just seems like
he does keep saying it though.
It was very
he
intentional.
said it quite a few times.
I thought he was going to tell her he loved her. I'm like, what's he going to say?
That's
to her?
right.
That's what I thought too. I'm like, I don't know.
That wasn't what it was.
I think what he said is irrelevant, but the fact that he had something to say and he never got to say it.
I gotta watch it again.
I think we should maybe go together.
J.J. Abrams is a lot of maybe things, but not like. He doesn't. Everything he does is tied in a night.
That's what I'm saying. No, it's clean. Yes, and that's what I'm saying. There was a longer version, and your buddy Kathleen Kennedy, put her fingers into it because they did the same fucking thing with Rogue One. Because
Rogue One was great though.
It was, but they re-edited it again. It wasn't the director put a movie together and gave it to him, and then they fucking chopped it up again.
Yeah, but that's every studio, isn't it?
No.
Yes. Fuck yes.
I can't, dude. You're telling
me
that
like Tarantino and Scorsese
movie.
the only two people, probably.
Dude, I can't believe that they're putting. Their
and
Disney
like James,
is the worst.
Here's the list: James Cameron,
okay,
Martin Scorsese, Quentin Tarantino, Christopher Nolan. That's probably it. Those four people could probably show up with their script and say, "You don't touch it." Their movie and say, "Don't touch it," and then they'll still have to fight probably for a month.
I can't believe that every studio touches every movie.
Yes.
I think
Absolutely.
maybe a movie
based
like
on
this,
marketing teams
where the
and
money,
focus groups
there's
and everything.
so much money involved in this movie, and they don't want to fuck it up. I believe that's absolutely why they fucked it up. I think they did.
Well, I mean, there was some there. Like if that's what I said. If I watched it, I would probably maybe see some of the things you're talking about, but I didn't really.
Well, you had the kids there too, and sometimes you're taking care of the kids too.
I had to go to the bathroom. I had to go to the bathroom. James had to go to the bathroom, right? And with the whole Palpatine scene, at the end, basically the last 20 minutes of the movie. I didn't miss the last 20 minutes. We went to the bathroom, but that's when he had to go to the bathroom.
Yeah, of course.
I think he was afraid because when I saw Palpatine on connected to that thing, which was super wicked, scary looking, it was really neat. I was like, whoa. And I had spoilers. I mean,
oh, come on. They haven't seen it yet. Fuck them.
Well, I mean, it's only been, it'll be 2.5 months maybe.
Yeah.
When this comes out. 2 months. I don't know, whatever. But yeah, I guess you're right. I think that's scary. It was scary. No, and that might have been the darkest I've ever seen any Star Wars movie.
Yeah, no, it was,
any Star Wars movie never got as dark as that moment.
Yeah, it was visually literally like you were staring
it was a horror
into
movie.
Darkness. Yeah,
it was a horror movie. I mean,
he was a fucking zombie.
The only thing I would compare it to would probably be the Vader scene in Rogue One at the end. But this was way more ominous than that. Way wicked scarier than that. And it was.
We had these shapeless shadows.
Shapeless shadows.
Just
what about that sickle that he was hanging from by the nape of his neck?
Yeah, it was like
and that he was just draped lifelessly from, like he was a hanging dead man, and his white eyes and
his black lips.
And his black lips, and the whole scene is grayscale. It's like all, and it's just like fucking wicked.
Yeah, he's pure evil.
And his like all his gnarled teeth, not gnarled, but like extra teeth, like just, and he was just that. I never saw a Star Wars movie get that dark. And James was like, I gotta go to the bathroom. I'm like, okay, I'll take it.
No, and that's my problem is I think there were parts of it that were so well crafted that I couldn't believe that the overall product wasn't buttoned up. It seemed
well. I mean, they're buttoned up. I mean, the buttoning up is part of my only thing that I would say negative about the movie, other than some of the things that maybe you're saying that I missed. And that's why I said maybe I got to watch it again. Not that I want to find things wrong with it, but just to see what I missed, because I know I missed a lot. Because when you watch it, you see almost like. I swear, like he had a checklist of what needed to be, all the wrongs that needed to be righted.
Yeah, well, he undid everything
and he just started checking them off.
Yeah.
He kept Luke Skywalker almost completely out of the movie. He kept the Asian woman completely out of the movie.
Mm.
He kept
Well, dude, they didn't.
He had stormtroopers shooting and hitting people.
Yeah.
He like every little thing. At the end, Chewie with his medal, which was super fucking cheesy.
Yeah.
It was just like that. I mean, if it wasn't obvious that he was checking off a checklist instead of writing a movie, at that point when he gets the medal, it's like, oh God, I mean, you could have left at least that out.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it was hokey in that sense.
But if it was the last, you kind of have to do some of that if it's really the last time you're going to touch these characters.
Right. At the same time, yeah, it was kind of like, so you have this hokiness to it, but at the same time, I mean, at some points it was a little too hokey, but I mean, Chewbacca getting that medal at the end was fucking stupid. It didn't even make sense in the scope of the movie. And also, what did they do to Chewbacca? Watch that movie again. He's an Ewok. Watch it again. He's wearing a suit that is this short brown fur.
Mm-hmm.
Chewbacca has long, flowing, light brown hair. Chewbacca is this hairy, stringy hair. Like if he lifts his hand up, his fingers look like they go on for another 14 inches because it's hair. He's like the Grinch.
Mm-hmm.
In this movie, he was like a teddy bear. He has very short hair.
That didn't jump out.
Yeah, I mean, he looked fake. He looked
worse.
worse.
They made it white. They kind of grayed his hair up a little bit.
I'm not talking about his face.
No,
his face was spot on. From his shoulders down, yeah, it's short hair.
Really, I don't have to.
Like an Ewok.
It didn't jump out at
It's
me.
literally like the teddy bear. Like
I was bothered that they put the Ewoks in it at the end of it.
Oh yes.
Just like I'm fucking done with.
Well,
Ewoks.
You gotta this again. It was on the checklist. It was
Did you catch the John Williams?
T's.
Did you catch the John Williams cameo at the end of it?
No.
When the ships are coming in, John Williams is one of the gunners in one of the ships, and then you have Wedge too. Wedge was in it as one of the gunners in the ship. But if you didn't know, like I kind of knew he was going to be in it, so I saw. But he's way older. You don't even recognize. I knew it was Wedge. Most people wouldn't recognize it. It was fucking Wedge, but it was just kind of.
Yeah, no. As I said, I have to watch it again. Essentially,
no. I think everybody. I think I need to digest it too. But I'm hearing that this other version may see the light of day because it's so divisive. And Disney's like, fuck it, put it out there and make
another money, couple $100 million.
Yeah, why not?
Well, I mean, it's what's crazy though is, I don't. I think I kind of liked it.
No, you came. I
kind of liked it.
It's like I said. Usually, I come out very optimistic and like I liked it, and that's me. And then you're like, fucking, and it was exactly the opposite, dude. Which was funny because I'm like, how is Nick not rage? I go, we're finally going to be able to rage against something together, and here you're like, I fucking liked it.
No, I mean, don't get me wrong. There's things. I mean, I just even told you, I might have been off mic this whole time, probably,
maybe slightly.
It's not that I didn't. I liked it a lot. I think I really liked it a lot. Yeah, but it's not that I had no issues with it. I mean, there's that Chewbacca issue. There's that checklist feeling.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I understand, and there's also the overall problem with Star Wars, which is the constant moving of what the story is about. So, like, you never really know what it's about. Well, it's like where you watch Star Wars: A New Hope, and it's about a farm boy, and then his journey is two other movies that make up his journey, and then it's really he's fulfilling some prophecy, and then he pre-releases some other prequel, and it's like, oh well, no, Luke wasn't the one who fulfilled the prophecy; it was this guy, and then now they released another 3, and they said no, it wasn't. It wasn't Darth Vader either. It was Rey, who brought balance to the Force.
But Rey could.
But then, what did that mean? But then, they all had to exist for her to be where she is. No, not really.
Because the prophecy has nothing to do with Rey. Because the prophecy was specifically.
Well, then no one brought balance to the Force.
No, Darth Vader did technically bring balance to the Force. Well, this is something
that's not possible.
This is something that we never really talked about.
He didn't bring balance to the Force. At the height based on Rise of Skywalker, he didn't. Can't be. Not possible.
No, think about it this way. The Sith are only ever 2, right? 2. The rule of 2. There's only 2 Sith, right? There's only 2 bad guys. They do a lot of bad shit, but there's only 2 bad guys.
Right.
At the height of the Jedi, there were thousands of Jedi. Right. Hundreds of Jedi.
Right.
when Anakin Skywalker turned bad, he was a huge part in the slaughtering of almost all the Jedi, and then hunted down any other ones that were left, right?
Right.
So he, in that way, level set the good side of the Force, which was way out of balance of the bad side, right?
So you're saying the balance was killing the good guys?
Partially, but then now he's a bad guy, and he goes through his hit the whole thing of the original trilogy, right? And Luke, who is the New Hope, to help fulfill the prophecy, help Anakin fulfill the prophecy, does in Return of the Jedi by turning him back to the good side. He dies and Palpatine dies, and theoretically the Sith should be dead at that point. Prophecy fulfilled. Bounce to the Force. Now there's...
Yeah, but no, that's not what happened, though.
That's the closest you're going to get, because
That's not
Rey
what happened,
could not
though.
have fulfilled the prophecy.
Why not?
Because the prophecy states that he who was born of no man will bring balance to the Force.
But it never happens.
What do you mean? He did. He killed
It
off all
never
of the
happens.
Jedi and all of the Sith at once, except for Luke. Luke was the only one left. And apparently Rey.
So you're saying bringing balance to the Force was killing all the good Jedi?
Yes. And all the bad, and the two bad. At that point, there were now...
One and one?
Or a few, like less. But
Where was the balance? I don't understand.
the balance would be...
slaughtering the Jedi?
Yes, the thousands of Jedi.
Right.
At the height of the Jedi
And bringing
Order, there
it
was
down
like
to 2 and how many Jedi?
maybe 8 or something. It depends on...
That's still not even. Like, I don't get the argument. The argument was that is bringing balance to the Force is eliminating this light and dark.
Well, here's what I think it kind of... I think one of the things they brought up that was
It's doing what... I'm sorry to interrupt you, but it's doing what Rey did.
No, because even when Rey did it, it was still balanced because all of the Sith were in Palpatine and all of the Jedi were in Rey.
Also, who said that the balance is a numbers game between light
It would have
and
to
dark?
be. That's a balance when two things are equal. That's a balance. When you're on the teeter-totter and nobody's...
So you're
higher or
saying the
lower than-
goal of Yoda and Obi-Wan is to train somebody to make sure that there were enough the Jedi killed to match the same number of Sith? So that there would be a 2-to-2 ratio?
I think the Jedi Order is a bunch of religious zealots. That's why they were they were kidnapping a bunch of kids. We talked about this though.
Yes.
They kidnapped kids the same way that the First Order kidnapped people for being stormtroopers. They fed them full of that religion from a very young age, and their idea was to create this army of these religious monks to push their agenda. Right. The balance was that
your belief of your feelings towards the Jedi are separate though of the premises of the movie.
That's my interpretation.
That's like kind of like saying Thanos did nothing wrong, the Empire did nothing wrong. You're seeing it from the bad guy's point of view. I understand that, but the balance in the Force that they're trying to achieve is eliminating a light and a dark.
No, there should be
so that there's this,
no.
Right.
The Force is a living force that is completely neutral. To be truthful, there should be no good or bad in it.
Right, and
it's a living force that is neutral.
That's what Rey is.
Maybe she's more towards the middle. I mean,
that's what
she
Rey
built
is.
a lightsaber.
What Sith are there? What Sith are left?
None that we officially know.
There's none. There's no Sith.
But then you would argue then that that's not a balance. Then
what Jedi are there?
Is she not? We don't know that she is.
Right.
You're saying you don't think she's a Jedi. You think she's a gray Jedi. She's like a druid. She's like new.
There's only one quote unquote semi Jedi alive on the entire galaxy, and she is the granddaughter of a Sith Lord.
So she's the balance of the light and the dark, but she takes the Skywalker name to counterbalance. Yeah, I mean, I guess it makes sense.
But then what if that's? I mean, that's to me
she
what
is
he's trying to show. I mean, he was. I think the balance. Abrams was beating us over the head with that.
But she is the result of the balance.
No, she brings the balance. She brings the balance.
I don't know.
And J.J. Abrams, like in a nod again to a New Hope. I mean, a nod to the original trilogy, has the last remaining Sith sacrificing himself, the same way Vader sacrificed himself, the same way Obi-Wan sacrificed himself, and like these sacrifices piled up to help Rey bring balance to the Force, which is kind of crazy because the other 6 movies were based on someone else being that person. And that person clearly didn't achieve, first you thought it was Luke. Oh, he brought balance to the Force by making, Anakin go from dark back to light. Never happened before. That's the balance. no, it turns out that, really it was Darth Vader, if you think about it, because then we go back and listen to his story and they go, oh, well, Darth Vader's the one who brought the balance of force, because after all, he's the one who threw the Emperor down the hole, and he's the one who went through these trials and tribulations to get him to this point. So he's the one who did it. And then now, that's 6 movies worth of stuff. And then all of a sudden Rey comes along and it turns out, Darth Vader never threw the Emperor down the thing. So that means that Darth Vader couldn't have been the one who brought the balance. And clearly Luke didn't, because he turned his father, but his father didn't really accomplish anything. The Sith Lord is still there.
Yeah, no, that actually devalued everything that happened in the original series.
And it also, right, and also the real issue then becomes well, not only did they not do anything, it seems they made him more powerful, because now as a dead Sith, he became more powerful the same way Obi-Wan became quote unquote more powerful. Is that now he's channeling all the Sith and he's asking to be struck down, which also made no sense. But I mean, I had problems with it, but I'm trying to learn from you, to be a little more open-minded.
Yeah.
But I mean, and there were some really awesome, again, really, really nice storytelling in there, really nice moments in there, really nice nods to the fans. There was it was a really good hat tipping, I thought.
So let me ask you this, because there were times I'm very conflicted about it, because there were times where they had me and there were times where they didn't. So what's his name? The ginger New Order guy, the Nazi guy.
The double agent.
The double agent. Did that just seem like? And I was a double agent all along. It seemed lame, right? I mean, this is a guy who was like, he was basically Adolf Hitler in the first movie. He had a Hitler fucking rally.
Yes.
And he's going to turn on his own shit.
Right.
It just seemed like, what's his name? Huff? What the fuck's that guy's name? I don't know. And I mean, I think the fact that they had to bring Palpatine back so they could do this redemption of Ben Solo storyline, which I liked, was when they started fucking with the original. I mean, because the first 2 movies, there was like no mention of Palpatine. He was dead and he was a non-factor.
Right.
And then all of a sudden they needed a bigger bad than Kylo Ren, because they felt like it was more interesting to turn the retribution of Ben Solo.
I think that, originally it was supposed to be J.J. Abrams for all 3, right?
Yeah,
and but I think that maybe he had it planned where this was going to stop maybe being hinted at in the second one.
Yep.
And then he just got kicked out because
he couldn't work with Kathleen Kennedy.
Right. Yep. So, I mean, she's the responsible for, which again is what I said.
No, you
about Star Wars in my last show, is that it's indicative of us as a culture. If you look at all those movies as they came out, and the stories of how they came out and when they came out and why they came out and who made them came out and who made these decisions and how it was received, is all very much an arc of us as a society in that same time frame. It really is.
Well, no, and I think the emphasis they put on it, we talked about that cultural value of the phenomenon that it was when it came out. It's why Disney bought it, because of the value of it, and also why they hoard over it so much and want to control it so much, because they realize that it's a commodity, right? Every part of it is. They can make money out of 1 million parts of this thing, and they want to be extra careful with it.
It's like a little golden goose.
Yeah, they got to keep it laying the eggs, right?
Yeah.
But something interesting that you said, and I don't want to jump to the Mandalorian really quick, because you said something interesting, like nobody was ever doing anything wrong. You were kind of poo-pooing my whole idea that the Jedi were this fucking religious zealots on a crusade. These religious monks should not be controlling fucking armies of soldiers, and it seems like they're pushing their agenda, and I absolutely do believe that. Like, the Jedi might not have been as good as we were made to believe, but everybody's a hero of their own story. But one of the interesting pieces of the Mandalorian is this idea that after the fall of the Empire, there's this chaos and lawlessness, and they almost play into this idea of, look at around you. People are just dying. Life is hard. And the Empire brought order to this place where there is no order. Whether you liked it or not, you had to appreciate the fact that you could walk down the street and not necessarily just get fucking gunned down by somebody. And it was an interesting idea that they actually asked the moral question of, was it so bad that people were prospering? Yes, we were under the oppressive rule of this regime, But like I said, people could live and walk down the street, and kids could play, and there weren't fucking gunfights all over the place.
Yeah. Well, we never saw that though. But
well, you see it in The Mandalorian,
right?
So that's an interesting thing that they play around with. Which
but
is
the Empire is already gone in The Mandalorian, right?
Well, but when you think about it, something that big wouldn't just collapse all at once. You would have pockets of
the resistance,
of pockets of soldiers still, and pockets of Moffs and governors and stuff that would have control of territories. Even in the books, the Chuck Wendig books, they're still trying to free all the planets. That isn't something that just happens like that, right? I mean, some of the problem with Lucas, playing that whole, all these planets celebrating, and they re-edited it in the Return of the Jedi. Well, that wasn't, it was like, oh, the switch flicked and the Emperor's dead and everybody's free. Realistically, it doesn't make any sense. Great visually to look at, but it would take time to free planets. It would take political negotiations and all kinds of different things. So, but it's just interesting to think about when you're watching The Mandalorian, you'll see some of that stuff.
Yeah, I got to watch some more of that. Like I said, but I'd rather invest my time in that than watch it.
Mm-hmm, okay.
Yeah. I mean, I'm going to watch something. I got to pick something. What am I going to do?
Whatever you want to do.
That's what I do.
That's fine.
Okay.
I'm not saying anything about it either way.
All right.
I mean, I have nobody else I can talk to about it. I'll talk to Shane about it.
Yeah, I guess so. Star Wars is done then. We're finished.
I think we're pretty much done. I mean, I think we'll talk about some of these other things as they pop out because there's some other shows here and there. But I think you're right. We've said a lot. I think my big piece I was holding on to was, like I said, my whole thing about the prophecy and the balance being less to do with the Sith and more to do with the glut of these Jedi.
I mean, it's an interesting take, but I don't think that's your opinion and how you feel about it is obviously your own and it's subjective. So it's not invalidating, but I just don't think that that's what they were thinking when they were making it, which probably doesn't matter what they were thinking when they made it. But
well, obviously, because they threw the whole fucking thing in the toilet because it doesn't make any sense in the new movie.
Yeah, I just don't. I find it hard to. Not that I don't agree with you, but I find it hard to agree with you that that's what the prophecy was about. I can agree with everything you're saying, but I can't agree with you that that's what the prophecy is. The prophecy is not to kill all the Jedi.
I'll tell you where it jumped out at me. I was reading one of these Star Wars books that has like a bunch of background shit. And in the bottom, there was a little fact, and it said, at the height of the Jedi Order, there was 15,000 Jedi Knights. And I was like, dude, 15,000 Jedi? Holy shit, dude. What could you do with 15,000 Jedi?
That's fucking scary shit.
That's what I'm saying. And I'm like, that's a significant force that no one could stand up against if it was mobilized. And what were you doing with 15,000 Jedi?
But that doesn't make sense either because Order 66 didn't kill no 14,000.
No, this would have been at the height of the Jedi Order. Would have been like the Old Republic stuff. Other wars probably thinned out the Jedi. The war with the real Sith, the actual Sith, the people, other things. But still, it's a fucking lot. And then you start looking at, well, how are they recruiting these kids? Will they go and get them when they're really young and they bring him in? He's too old to train. He knows too much about the world. He can't be trained. He's going to be tainted. We need someone here that we can mold. You start thinking about it, you're going, it's easy to say, like you said, you're seeing it from their perspective. Well, they're the good guys, but it's kind of subjective, right? They're good.
Yeah, no,
maybe
absolutely.
Isn't somebody else's
Yeah,
good.
absolutely.
That was my take that I was always sitting on, and we never really delved into the original trilogy because you never really wanted to, but that's fine.
Never delved into the original trilogy? Sure.
The prequel trilogy.
But, the prequel.
But just something, but here's the other piece I want to say, and then we'll walk off into the sunset with this. I never really cared about any of Finn or Rey or Poe. I was never emotionally connected. I didn't think the chemistry between them was amazing the way it was between Han and Luke and Leia. That was magic between those actors that you can't reproduce. They never reproduced it in the first one, in the prequel trilogies either. There was no chemistry there. I didn't care. I did not care.
Rey and Ben was interesting. Come on.
That was interesting, yes. And they had chemistry. And that's why they had to do that, because they realized these characters do really have chemistry. So we have to do this. We have to explore this. So how do we do that? Well, we have to bring a worst bad person in so that I can do this. And I thought that was great. And I thought it was very well done. How do you do that after? Think about what this guy did. He killed his father in the first one. In the second one, he tried to turn her to the dark side and he killed everybody else. And then he tried to kill Luke Skywalker. And then you're still able to turn him good and you gave a fuck about him. That's a hell of a writing job to make you care.
Well, that's the same thing about Darth Vader, who destroyed a whole fucking planet of people. They blew up Alderaan.
No, you're right. Well, that was, you know what, Dick, you could blame that because that was mostly Tarkin, who just couldn't wait to fucking fire that thing again.
Yeah, it's true. He had a hard on to
and after you watch Rogue One, what makes it funny is you realize he just was like, fuck, let's blow some shit up.
Dude.
We blew up a city. Let's blow up a fucking planet, man.
I really liked Rogue One.
I do. I love it too. I really do love it.
Really,
yes.
really
That's I watched that again the other day. And I watched Solo, and I love Solo. Dude.
Solo is awesome
really like
too.
Solo.
Solo and Rogue One are, to me, better than probably the prequel movies. All of them, maybe, possibly.
Yeah. No, I would bump them above almost.
Well, technically, Rogue One is a prequel movie.
Revenge
it
of the
literally runs right into A New Hope.
Revenge of the Sith. The second half of that is very stronger than any of the other prequels. But I would probably put Rogue One or Solo before them. And I love Solo because it's kind of like, what if Quentin Tarantino directed a Star Wars movie? Like, that's the way I look at it. Or like Guy Ritchie. What if Guy Ritchie directed a Star Wars movie? This is what it would be like.
Yeah, it was more stylized. It was a fun movie. Yeah. But what were you just saying before you said that?
Chemistry. I didn't care about Rey. We talked about Ben Solo and the retribution of Ben Solo.
No, you're going back too far.
Then we talked about making you care about Ben Solo and making you care about Darth Vader, and then Tarkin going. Being a fucking maniac and fucking shoving his...
One was technically a prequel.
And shoving his dick into everything. I'm going to fuck this city. I'm going to fuck this planet.
Runs into A New Hope. And then I was going to say something.
Because it technically is a prequel.
Yeah, I said that, and then I was going to say something else, and I
think it was my fault that time because I was just steamrolling.
It's all right. It's okay. But anyway, so the point being that we really put a lot.
We exercised the Star Wars thing?
We really exercised a lot of our feelings. Your feelings about the Jedi, my feelings about the hero's journey and the greed of the whole thing. We covered the prophecy. Come on, we covered the prophecy.
We covered the trench run, asteroid field.
Well, really, that's what Star Wars is about, is the prophecy. Which we didn't know when Star Wars first came out.
Yeah.
That's what it was about.
That's why we didn't even know. The prophecy didn't even exist until the prequel. Yes, it was in Phantom Menace when they talked about the prophecy.
Yes, but we get an inkling about there being a chosen one in Empire.
Do we? I don't remember that. Okay.
Yeah, there's some. It's hinted at, and then a little bit more. It's also hinted at, I think, in Jedi, and then that's why it's kind of reinforced in Phantom, where he comes out and actually says it.
I just thought he retconned it for the prequels. But.
It could be. You know, it's hard to tell. But I remember. The whole. He was our only hope. There is another.
No, there is another. Yeah.
So like this reliance, they're looking for this one specific person that they keep thinking they have. So I don't know. Yeah, maybe you're right. I mean, when those first three movies came out, the plot changed. That's what I'm saying. Each time the next three came out, the whole plot of the entire saga changed. Which I don't know if that makes it bad or good, but it just makes it. It makes it feel like disingenuous in a way, because you realize when you were first watching it that you weren't watching what you thought you were watching, which makes you feel a little fooled inside.
It's like fucking with history. Like you thought you knew what happened, but then they tell you that it didn't happen the way that you understood that it happened.
Right.
They're constantly changing. History got changed on us twice, and each time it's hard to. You feel a little bit.
I keep saying how much
jaded
doesn't
about
it. Doesn't it just sound like just exactly the past 40 years?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, history is not at all what we were taught in school. Christopher Columbus isn't who you thought he was. Pluto isn't a planet. Like all this stuff. Han didn't shoot first. It's just another brick in the wall. Yeah. Like almost literally.
But is it that we didn't understand it the way that it was, or is it that people are rewriting everything?
I think it was rewritten for us, and now it's being pointing out to us that it was rewritten for us.
Because we're not as enlightened now. We weren't as enlightened then as we are now. So
right.
now
that's because information wasn't as freely available then as it is now.
And things haven't been thought about as much as they are now. So,
but now has a different problem. Now, it's like nothing is true. something, what's true anymore? Like if you say something, can you really say some true statement right now? Like it may be true at the moment, but tomorrow maybe it's not true anymore. It's like weird. It's like there's nothing that's really, you can't say anything with any certainty. You can't say someone isn't a crook. You can't say someone is a good person. You can't say this, that, or the other thing. Anything you could say, you could be proven wrong today, tomorrow. Someone could look up something that from yesterday that proves you wrong.
Well, everybody's saying this stuff at the same time. What do you believe about Trump? Is he a hero? Is he a villain? Is he standing up for the American people? Is he a fucking tyrant? Is he? And everyone's saying this stuff at the same time. How do you know which one of those threads?
It's like there's no right answer.
There's almost so much information that you can't comprehend what's true or not.
Right, which means there is no truth anymore. It's kind of weird. There's so many options for truth that there is no one truth. And our truth, we had what we thought was the truth, and then it turned out not to be.
So everyone has their own truth that they find themselves and they choose. That seems convenient. You could now pick your truth.
Yeah, probably. Yeah, absolutely. You could pick your truth. I mean, I guess you always could, but now it's easier. Or now at least you could point at it.
Will the truth
you
still
can go,
set
there's
you
my
free?
truth right there. Oh, I don't know. Now you're getting fucking hokey.
Hokey? I don't know. The internet is hokey. I mean,
it's all hokey.
It's sad when you have to go
it's
to
all
like
fake meatball.
If you're reading something,
one of my favorite movie quotes still.
If when you're reading something, you have to go to 3 different sources to come to one conclusion of what the consistent facts are about something, and then form your own opinion. It's fucking exhausting to find the truth.
It is. Did you know that I'm holding up the American Heritage Desk Dictionary source. American Heritage Dictionary is a conservative dictionary.
It's a conservative dictionary.
Yep.
What does that mean?
I don't know.
Who said this?
In people who study language, there's multiple dictionaries, and there's thousands of words. There are some dictionaries who refuse to acknowledge certain words as words. Does that mean they're words or they're not words?
This book can't contain every word. It's impossible.
Right. So if the Oxford English Dictionary has a word and Merriam-Webster does not, is it a word?
I think it's a word.
Why? Because one dictionary has to have it, or not?
No, I don't.
Or what if you take a dictionary word and you
write
twist
down
it?
every word? There are too many words to write.
It's supposed to be. All right, but even what if you look up a dictionary and look up a word and look up its definition and find 3 different definitions of the same word, all with the same.
That's
all
not uncommon,
right? So some of them are conservative leaning definitions, and some of them are liberal leaning definitions,
well, what would
and some
be
of them
a
are
term?
Middle of the road, and then it's kind of like, well, which one is the actual definition?
Oh, well, here you go. Here's something interesting. So you're saying this is a conservative dictionary, right? So
well, that doesn't mean it leaves like the word. That doesn't mean like you won't find the word gay in there.
No, but for instance, I just looking through this trying to find something that would be a conservative angle that the Conservative Party would have an angle on. So I see.
What'd you look up?
Global warming.
You looked up global warming?
No, I was just looking through it, and I was looking at words.
It's not even in there, is it?
Global warming is here. An increase in the average temperature of the Earth's atmosphere, especially one sufficient to cause climate change. But many conservatives may not believe that global warming is a legitimate thing.
They can't leave it out of the dictionary. I don't even know why. I can't believe global warming is. I'm saying based on literary scholars, this is what they say.
So hold on. I'm going to look up the internet. If it says that Al Gore created the internet.
It's a conservative leaning
internet. Something created by Al Gore. Oh, nice. I'm just thinking of something that we could look up that would be more conservative leaning.
Yeah, I don't know.
Like polyamory. Let's look up polyamory. Is that in here?
Polyamorous?
Polyamory. Or amorous. I think polyamory would be the base word, and polyamorous would be the...
Polyamory is the verb, right?
To polyamori. I'm just trying to think of something that we could look up that would be conservative leaning. I mean, prostate.
Oh, jeez.
A gland in male mammals at the base of the bladder that controls the release of urine and secretes a fluid, which is a major constituent of semen.
Yeah. Well,
there you go. What about abortion?
The word folsom.
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 Folsom as a word?
Folsom.
I thought Folsom was a place.
Folsom.
You think Folsom? Episiotomy? You want to read?
No.
I'm finding just the most wonderful words. F-O-L.
S-O-M, I think. Or S-U-M.
You use the word Folsom in something? Can you use that in a sentence, please? I'm stuck in
The senator
prison.
received fulsome praise from his constituents.
Folsom praise.
Look at Folsom.
Sounds like fucking bullshit. 4-H Club, a youth organization.
Well, it used to have a positive connotation, and then supposedly over time, it's become a Folsom. Actually is no. I'm thinking of toothsome. That's a toothsome woman.
There's no Folsom in here. There's follow up.
I might be doing it wrong. I think it's Fulsome. F-U-L-L-S-O-M-E. Which makes it a compound
Folsom,
word.
now that sounds like something I've read before. Full back, full blooded, full blown, full bodied, having richness of flavor or aroma, wide through the hips, roomy. I made that second part up. Full fledged, full moon, full scale, fully, fulminate, fulsome, offensively flattering or insecure. It doesn't sound at all like what you said it was.
Insecure, F-U-L-L, or is it
F-U-L-S-O-M-E?
S-O-M-E, Folsom. Yeah.
Offensively flattering, kind of like our friend.
And that used to be a positive word. I have to go to the bathroom.
Well, while you go to the bathroom, I'm going to entertain the people by reading from the dictionary. So you better hurry up.
Oh, my God. Are you serious?
And just so you know, everyone, this is Nick's fault because he has a bladder of a hamster. So you're going to read. I'm going to find the most gold brick, gold, godforsaken, located in a dismal or remote area. Bumfuck Egypt, the middle of nowhere. Glutinous. I'm going to jump further ahead. Menelaus. Greek mythology, the king of Sparta at the time of the Trojan War. Nice, that's cool. Mental age. A measurement of intellectual development as determined by an intelligence test expressed as the age at which that test score is USU attained. It was formerly used in calculating intelligence quotients, but it is now generally used. Oh, they're abbreviating words in here. That's weird. Used only for children. So it's usually, but they said USU as an abbreviation. I've never seen a dictionary abbreviate, but is now generally used only for children and people with intellectual disability. Menthol. I don't care about that. Let's go further ahead. Silhouette. A drawing consisting of the outline of something, especially a human profile, filled in with a solid color. Okay. This is where you realize how long it takes someone to pee. Let's see. Why is sprinkler system in here? Do I need a fucking definition for sprinkler system? A network of overhead pipes that release water to extinguish fires. Really? Square. Square is interesting. It has an unusually long number of definitions. There are 6. Square, a plane figure having 4 equal sides. Something having an equal-sided rectangular form. An instrument for drawing or testing right angles. The product of a number or quantity multiplied by itself. An open area at the intersection of 2 or more streets.
Are you actually reading from the dictionary?
A rectangular...
Holy shit.
Well, I'm just reading through stuff. You know what I looked up that was really...
Oh, my God.
There's a definition for fucking sprinkler system. Like, do I need that defined?
No.
And also,
did you understand that you can't even trust words? Is what my point was.
Well, if someone's telling you what the word means, if you don't know, you're right. You could get the...
No, but I'm saying we can't even agree on what a word means. There is no truth anymore, is what I'm saying.
I didn't know they abbreviated
It's just
in the
all
dictionary.
uncertainty. And that's why we can't put our finger on Star Wars anymore or anything
you know what?
else.
I strongly recommend the thing. I think the only truth is the truth that you find for yourself. Find your own truth, people.
But that's the only truth that exists, really.
Break the wall down.
That's it.
Tear down the wall.
That's it. Next time we'll talk about me getting drugged in the city.
What about Zach De La Rocha?
Who?
What would he say?
Yes, he would say that.
He would say what?
I don't know who that is.
Are you saying we're done? You're done? You're finished? Finito?
What time is it?
I don't know. What is it, man? It's like
well, no, I mean
12:45. We got an hour.
We got an hour?
Yeah. How long is your story?
My story's a little. I'm not going to make it through my story.
You're not going to make it through your own story.
No, my story's got a lot of details in it. It's got
else?
a lot of weird happenings.
Okay. Weird happenings.
You should have that chocolate chip cookie.
Do you want to talk about Russian baths?
Huh?
Maybe we'll talk about Russian baths after you take your wife to the Russian bath.
Next Friday.
In Marlborough?
We're going to go to Russian baths.
That's weird because Shane sent that and I said, nice. When are you going? And then you replied and I go,
Shane didn't send it.
You didn't send it?
James sent it.
James. Oh, sorry. James sent it.
Yes. Shane didn't send it.
Okay. And you want to talk about Iran at all?
No. I don't know. What am I going to say about Iran? I don't know anything about Iran. I knew more about Brett Kavanaugh than I knew about Iran.
Wow, that's bad. We didn't know shit about him. We assumed a bunch of things about him.
No, we were pretty spot on with him.
I mean, I think we danced around it, but we ended back of find your own truth.
I think we assumed he did it.
Yeah, as long as he
probably did.
He thought he'd get away with it. He did.
Allegedly. Oh, he did.
Who knows? When's this impeachment thing going to happen? I mean, I thought this was like done deal.
No, I don't think he's getting impeached.
So what the fuck was all that shit?
Well, impeached is...
They were literally dancing in the streets.
Impeached means indicted, right?
Removed from office. Yeah, I thought that was impeachment.
No, you have to be... Then the Senate has to vote you
So
out.
this is even more bullshit than we're talking
Which
about words.
I don't think it's ever happened.
Well, Nixon resigned.
Right.
Because he probably resigned before they prosecuted him.
Too, didn't they? I think 3 presidents were indicted and 2 resigned. Something like that. I don't remember.
I mean, I guess you resign if you feel like the case is pretty good again.
I feel like I should know that, but...
I know Nixon for sure.
Yeah, that's the only one I know.
Trump and...
that's the one I should know. We should both know.
The third one.
Yeah. Unless there's not 3, unless it's 2. Either way is bad. It's me.
Alexa?
Something.
Sorry, you don't have Alexa.
Did I kick you in the foot?
No, you didn't. That's the weird footstool you have down there.
Yeah, that was nice. All right.
So, okay, well...
DoomsdayDoopyDoo.com. DoomsdayDoopy@gmail.com.
Yep. Leave a review.
Tell a friend.
Tell 2 friends.
Or 2.
Write a bad review. Give us 5 stars.
Yeah, I'm sorry that Chris literally read from the fucking dictionary. I might have to do the very first piece of Doomsday Doopy-Doo editing.
No.
How many things did you read?
I don't know. You're going to have to wait and find out.
I was going to the bathroom for a while.
It was gold. As far as I'm concerned, that was gold.
I was peeing going, oh, you got to fucking hurry up. I was getting really anxious to finish.
Yeah. Who knows what I was saying while you were going?
I don't know.
Yeah. You're really going to have to dig into this episode to find out.
All right.
There's some gold in there. I would leave it. You can't edit that. You got to leave that in there.
Are we recording this?
Oh, shit. No, we're not.
We're not?
Oh, wait. Yeah, we are.
Okay.
Yes, why not? I don't know.
Oh, you know what?
What?
Have you been looking at the levels on the recorder? Why are they so low?
They seem low, yeah.
How's this? This is better?
No. I don't know. You can't turn that up, dude. It's turning the headphones up.
That's just turning the headphones up, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, I mean, the headphones are just upstream or downstream. Yeah.
Huh.
I don't know.
Okay.
That's kind of where it was. We didn't touch anything.
No, we didn't. No, we got. It's too late.
So you weren't like jamming.
I can jam it up in post.
In the post, knock it up in the post.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay. On that note, thanks for tuning in, guys and gals.
Mm-hmm.
And see you.
And Happy New Year, and enjoy your fucking wasabi peas, you pole smokers. Is that bad?
What's a pole smoker?
A dick sucker? Is it worse than? Is pole smoker worse than cocksucker?
No, I just never heard of pole smoker.
Pole smoker. I haven't stopped the recording yet.
Wait, you didn't? Later, guys.